Hello. Hi, everyone. Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ore. Good afternoon, Bumi. If you can hear me loud and clear, just let me know you can hear me. Good afternoon. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bumi. I'm quite audible. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, Titi. Good afternoon, Angie. Hi, Shay. Good afternoon. Eridapa. I like your name. Good afternoon. Okay, Tosin, welcome, everyone. It's so good to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Viola. Nice to meet you all. I'm so pumped. I'm like, woo, such a great time. I know we're all professionals here, so everybody's trying to like, I know if it was a physical meeting, we'll probably be, knotting ties and wearing suits like HR professionals, but, let's just have fun. Welcome everyone. So I think we still have a lot of people joining. We're about 28 now, and this is a good number. Good afternoon, welcome. How you doing? Can you just let me know through the chat? How's this lockdown been? What have you been up to? Well, just briefly, you get my gist. How's it been being at home? Okay, we're gonna start shortly. So good afternoon, Jumoke. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. It's 1:05 p.m. I'm not feeling like a ridiculous. Anyway, it's so good to have everyone joining today. Thank you for taking time to be here. It's going to be such an awesome time. All right, the lockdown has been great for you. Oh, really fantastic. Means you must have been doing, some very amazing things. That's good to hear. The lockdown has been great. Okay. The lockdown has been good here too, having, well, full 24 hours sitting on a spot. I know, so you have to tell yourself that, I have 24 hours, I've got to maximize, my 24 hours. There's no, I'm rushing home, traffic and all of those things. So yeah, so Bumi says different way of life, but quite adaptive if you plan and structure your activities. Absolutely, I agree with you. Quite adaptive if you plan, and then you realize that you're working, a bit more productive, and then working more when you're home, because now you're not having to move around, like I said. So there's just really time for you to do quite a number of things, and of course rest, lots and lots and lots of rest. So yeah, I agree with you. Okay. Um, okay, we're going to start in about 4 minutes. In about 4 minutes, this is 1:06 in about 4 minutes. Because I know that people have quite a number of questions that they would want to get answers to. So Kumi says it's been a bit tough working from home, but it's been good. I can imagine heavy data consumption. Sometimes, I mean, the PHN is not like they are very understanding to say, oh, you're working from home, let me give you 24 hours light, you know, that kind of thing. But it's been good. I know. I know. That's good. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining today. This is 107. It's so good to have everyone here. So what I intend to do today is to, just briefly share on, you look good and yes, fine. You can start. I'm sorry. Thank you. So I think one of my pet peeves as well is also hair touching my body. So I just want it off my body. Like, can it go off my body? Thank you, Chima. I'm going to try to stop doing that. Okay. So one of the things, which I'm going to try to do here is to give basics or an introduction. Let me say an introduction to what it means or how you can start a career in HR. So I'm just going to touch the basics, how you can start a career in HR, just a few minutes, talk through my slide. I have about, say 9 to 10 slides. And then we have the larger part of the time for questions and answers because, I strongly feel like one of the biggest ways to learn is when people have, their own specific questions that you can provide answers to because, like we know, everybody has we're all different people, unique in our own way, different personalities, different attitudes. So, and just from human resources, there's no one size fits all. So people are going to have different questions. And then, so as much as possible, I'm going to try and, prefer solutions to the questions. So, Pastry says, please, I can't hear you. Why is that? Because everyone can hear me. Make sure that as you log in, you click on connect to audio. Once you click on that, you should be able to hear me. Please let me know if you can hear me, everyone. Someone says they can't hear me. Hi, sis. Ewa can hear me, Bonnie can hear me. Okay, Paige, so that means it has to be from your end. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Make sure you're clicking on the right thing. Esther can hear me. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, so it's 1:09 and in about 1 minute we will start. So let me just give a background of what we're doing today. Like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about the basics of starting a career in HR. So if you are already, if you've never been in the HR space, you want to move into HR, this is for you. If you're already in the HR space and you want to advance your career, I'm just going to touch briefly on that because that's like a whole course, on its own, advancing, your HR career. Or if you're in a different space, a different industry, and you want to move into HR, I'm going to be talking briefly on that too. But like I said, the larger part of the time would be to answer peculiar questions, that people have, having gone through the questions that you want answered. I saw a lot of questions like, I want to know about HR analytics, dear professionals and colleagues. HR analytics on its own, it's a whole different course. So you probably have to, you're probably going to have to register, for a different course, just to talk about HR analytics, because I mean, it's big. And that's the beauty of HR is it's just a tree with so many beautiful branches, so but as much as possible, I'm going to try to answer, some of the questions that I can answer here. And I don't know everything. So there's some you're going to have to search on Google and do a lot of research. So yeah, but I'm sure we're going to have an amazing time today. As much as possible, I want us to be done here in about an hour, maximum an hour, 30 minutes. So I'm just going to spend about 20, 30 minutes, going through my slide. But I want to use the remaining time to answer a lot of questions as much as I can, also from my experience being in the HR space, and then some of the things that you can do to advance and be successful, as an HR practitioner. So yes, so I'm going to be sharing my screen. So you probably might not see my face for some few minutes. You'll be seeing my screen. Okay. So please do let me know as well when you can see my screen. Okay. So can everyone see my screen? Please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, okay, Bumi, thank you. Thank you, Ewa. Okay, yeah. So people can see my screen. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so let's dive right into it because of our time. So starting a career in HR. So I'll just do a brief introduction. My name is Oluwatoyin Omotayo. I'm a people development partner. I have about 5 years experience. I have about 5 years experience in business advisory, organizational development, learning and organizational development, HR journalist functions, blah, 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 blah. It's not about me today. Okay, what else? Okay, I think I'll just keep my profile and I'll go straight right into what I want to talk about. Okay, so very quickly, so we'll be looking at the concept of HR, evolution of the HR function. How has the HR function evolved over the years, over time? And then the big question that I like to ask people, when people tell me I'm looking to switch into HR, my first question is why HR? Because you can look at the side of HR, especially when you ask people and they're like, I have people skills. I want to interact with people. HR is beyond interacting with people. In fact, as you start to grow in your career in HR, you're going to be interacting with people less, actually, because you're going to be moving into technical functions of HR. So you're not going to be dealing with, admin work of HR, attendance, why do people come late to work? No. As you advance in HR, you're going to be dealing less with people, and dealing more with the powers that be in the organization. You're sitting in boardrooms, sitting in making critical decisions for the organization. So people are going to be seeing you less, basically. So why HR? The key areas in HR, the critical skills for success in HR. How do you start to switch your career in HR? How to advance in the HR space? And then new dimensions for the HR. This is post-COVID-19. I apologize for that. Okay, so let's get right straight into it. Page 2. Okay, we'll look into that. Get a recorded view. Look into that. All right, so I like to start from here. So I've had people, ask me, how do you define human resources? And I'm sure in recent times we've been able to define it. But as HR has evolved, it's become a bit more complicated to define human resources because we have now started to uncover and unravel things about HR that we did not know in the past. Like I said, you would think HR is just, recruiting people, training them, just giving them salary and all of those things. But over the years, HR has evolved. And I like this definition by Steve Wynn. It says that human resources isn't a thing that we do. It's the thing that runs our business. I love it. It's not what we do. It's the thing, or in this context, the people that run our business. Every organization is built on people. So if you're running a business, you have an organization. Without people, I'm not exactly sure what you're doing. Because when you say you have an organization or a business, the people there is what makes your organization. So people are the bedrock of any organization. So I like to say that human resources is basically people management. Now, that definition looks like whole because it is actually whole. So when you talk about people management, you're talking about actually seeing people through from, beginning stage up to the exit stage. So you are practically dealing with everything that concerns the employee from the moment they get into the organization till the moment they are out of the organization. Now, that for me is a whole lot of work. It's quite huge because these are people who have different attitudes, different personalities, different experiences, different backgrounds. So it takes a whole lot to actually manage people. Because imagine that you have never met someone in your life. How do you provide a solution that helps this person, which has to be different from the solution you are giving to the next person? So it's mind-blowing. So human resources is just people management, and it's a whole lot of world to unravel. Every day you are seeing new things of how can I effectively manage this person to be productive at work, because what works for one doesn't work for the other. It's just the same way when some people like to read, they like to read in quiet places, and when some people like to read, if they don't get to the market, literally they can't read. Like, they have to read in noisy places. It just tells you how different, people can be. So let me just take you through a brief history of the HR function. So now in the early days, we used to have, so the HR, the HR personnel was the one that they would call the welfare officer, all the, hiring, and all this admin work where, someone is coming late to work. You're like, why are you late to work? Query. And then it moved to personnel management, where you now have that was the era of the trade union partnership, where HR was more like trade union partner, where you are having to, always settle grievances that the employee is having with the employer. Exactly. So management of absence, training and recruitment, productivity improvement, those are the things that were happening in those times. Now, fast forward to 2001 upwards, we now start to have the HR as a strategic business partner, which is why I said, as you advance in your career as HR, you are going to be dealing less with people. You are going to be more of a strategic business partner, where you are sitting at the table of, you're sitting with decision makers to say, how can we connect our people goals to our organizational goals? How do we, maximize our people to produce our objectives and our organizational goals? You are going to become a change agent. You're going to become an employee champion, center of excellence, share services, in the sense that you are going to concern yourselves less with imagine in this era of COVID-19, how many people are coming to work? So now the question is, how are you able to get the best out of your employees without seeing them face to face? How are you able to advise the CEOs and the board of directors to say, okay, now that people are at home, how can we maximize? How can we still be producing? So the era of when HR, had no business with how much money we made into the company, that era is over. Now, HR must be able to prove their value. HR must be able to say, within the space of so time, this is the value that I brought into the company. It has evolved. It's as interesting as that. Okay. So let's kick it off. My very good question. Why HR? Why exactly do you want to do HR? It's the question I like to ask people. Why do you want to do HR? Is it because you really have a passion, for human resources, for seeing people get developed, or because of the money that is there? Which, I'm not even, because of the money, or because of the fact that HR is such a wide course, or is such a wide career that you can find in every organization. Every organization has HR. That one is standard. Every organization has HR, whether they call it people management or people development or people department, whatever they call it. Every organization has HR. As long as every organization has people, every organization must have HR. Do you understand? They must have a department that caters, to the people in the organization. So why HR? Why do you want to do it? Think about it. Where is your passion really? So I'll give an example of why for me, HR was, go-to for me. I've always been passionate about people development. I feel like, I strongly believe, not even feel that, if we can produce better people, our organizations, we can have better organizations. One of my very good, mentors and pastors will say that the better the people, the better the organization. The better the people, the better the leaders. The better the leaders, the better the organization. So for me, people development is a passion for me. I want to see people develop all that is inside of them. I want to see people express their creative genius. I want to see people, I'm a strong believer in the fact that everybody has something to offer. So my passion is to see people express that thing that is on their inside that they can offer. That's my passion, you see. So I'm very passionate about, how people use their gifts and their potentials to serve their world, giving their best self, constantly to the world. That's why I'm in HR, basically. That's why I'm in HR. So you need to answer that question. Don't look at HR as the easy field, because friends, as you start to advance in HR, it will not just be what you thought it was. So it's not just an easy field, as it were, that you can just, when things are not working in the other industry, you just slide to HR. The way you slide in, you might slide out like that. Because like I said, as you start to become a thought leader in HR, some things are going to naturally drop off you. You are going to have to consciously drop off things. The things that look like activity when you're at work, you have to show why you're really at work. Because now there's nobody to ask whether attendance is complete or the register is complete or whether the query has been given to you. You are going to be doing strategic work. You are going to be doing, serious work like HR analytics, technology work. So so you need to identify why exactly do I want to go to HR. If you're able to answer that question, and it could stem from your passion, it's okay. Some people have a passion for people development like I do. It's okay. It could stem from, the income. Like I said, HR is very marketable. Let's not even forget that part, that in every organization, the HR department is a constant. So it must be there. So you could also be for that. So you need to answer your questions. Why do you want to be in HR? Now, what are the key areas in HR? So let's take a dive into this. Okay, please let me know if you can hear me and if you are with me. Okay, just let me know through the chat if you can hear me. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so some of the key areas in HR. So in the past few years, we used to have just 7 areas in HR. But as we started to grow, as HR started to evolve from just being a welfare officer to being a personnel manager to becoming a strategic business partner, the areas in HR also started to expand. So before, you would hear things like recruitment and selection, which is still in today's HR, but now it has a, more robust name, which is talent acquisition. So you have talent acquisition, which is also recruitment and selection, and that deals with how you bring people into the organization. So that is the interview stage, the CV submission stage, the onboarding stage. So it's basically how people are coming into the organization. Then we have learning and development, which is, what we used to know as training. It used to be training and development, but now it's learning and development. And so let me quickly say, so there's a difference between training and learning. Now, training is you giving knowledge. So what I'm doing right now can be seen as training, but learning occurs when the person who is listening, when the participant is able to use the knowledge. You can say learning has occurred. So which is why, so now that we've realized that it is less about the facilitator, but more about the participant, is why we have called it learning and development. So we have learning and development, which is the training, when you send people on training, capacity development, just for people to acquire skills that will help them on their job. That's where the learning and development comes. And then we have performance management. And this talks about, how we measure the value that an employee is bringing into the organization. So this is the part where you have KPIs, the key performance indicators, to say, in the space of 3 months, these are the things that you are going to be measured by. To say, after 3 months, these are the things that you have done. These are the things that you like. So basically, performance management is just what it is. Managing your performance, actually measuring the value that you have brought into the organization within the space of either 3 months or 6 months. Usually organizations, like to do performance appraisals, as we call it, quarterly, So another area is the compensation and benefits. This is the part that deals with salary. So every salary that you get, every bonus that you get, every compensation, every reward, every transportation allowance, all of those allowances, all of those money related matters, and even awards, long service awards, all of those awards comes under compensation and benefits. Now you have succession planning. Succession planning simply means it's a process where we're identifying key employees that can take up leadership positions in the future. So from the word succession, so you are training new people that can take up leadership positions in the organization, say in the next few months and in the next few years. So you are identifying, so you're looking at an employee and say, oh, this is, a high performing employee. How can I train this person to take up a leadership position in the next 2 to 3 years? So you are sending them on specific leadership trainings. You are sending them on specific, courses that would help their leadership, their managerial skills, and all of those. So that's what succession planning is. And then you have health and safety. This is the part, so over time, so in recent times, health and safety is breaking out, of that HR space where we're now having to employ separately HSE officers, because health and safety on its own has been seen to be a broad topic. So industries and big companies, with factory workers realize that health, safety, and environment is a big part, of their employment process or of their employment operations. So in an organization of consulting, you might not have so much of HSE because, people come to work, people sit down at their desk, once it's 5, they go home. But for the factory workers, who have to deal with, different situations and conditions every day, HSE is a major part, that the HR also has to manage, in the organization. So another area, we have the employee and labor relations. Now, this simply is where you have the trade union, where if your organization is one that is unionized, this is a key area that you need to focus on, because you don't want employees, suing you every day or, every now and then. And you also don't want the union to have so much control over your organization that you can't do anything. Because trust me, the union is a very powerful institution, so you have to ensure that your employees, are satisfied, in a way. So this department is what caters to, trade union matters, employee grievances, union procedures, and all of those things. Then we have compliance management. Now, this has to do with labor laws and regulations. So where CIPM is giving a law, or the employment, what's it called now? The employment ministry, the labor and employment ministry is giving a law, all of those tax, exactly. So the tax that you pay, the pension that you remit, all of those things, the people who watch those timelines and those processes, the compliance management. So you can also have a compliance manager in your office that says, okay, this is my major work, to say that I must remit what I need to remit, not more than the deadline. Because if you start to miss deadlines when you're supposed to remit, it comes with fine. So now you can imagine all these areas of HR. So you can imagine that you as an HR professional, you have to manage all these areas. It's fantastic. Having to look at all these areas and say you are the custodian of all these areas. And let me just say that these are just even, this is not even all, because every day we find new parts, that we have to deal with as HR professionals. So you need to have an idea of all these areas. Talent acquisition, how do you recruit in the organization? What are the kind of questions to ask on an interview panel? How do you not intimidate people? How do you give potential employees, how do you give them a good candidate experience is essential. How do you train people? How do you measure? How do you measure the return on investment that you have put where training is concerned? How do you measure performance? How do you reward people for the job that they do? And even the people who go the extra mile, how do you reward these people? How do you plan, for the next few years of your organization, to say that the manager of a department is going to, say, retire, or you already see signs that they are going to resign? Are you ready to put someone in that place? That's where succession planning. So you have to be thinking on your feet as an HR person. You have to be thinking, critical thinking, constantly saying, how can I do to make things better? Health and safety. You don't want an employee coming one day and tripping on a wire, because we're in Nigeria. On a lighter note, we're in Nigeria. We don't get to see a lot of these employees suing. But if you were in America or somewhere else, like, employees are literally suing every second. And the moment the CEO is being sued, the HR is being roped into it, because they're like, you manage these people. Where did you go wrong? So your mind has to be so big to accommodate all of these areas, in dealing with people in the organization. Like I said, I'm just going to be doing, basics, just touching here and there, starting a career in HR and all of that. Okay, so let's look at some of the skills that, that are critical for you if you want to start a career in HR. What are some of the skills that you need to have? So first of all, communication. You need to be able to write and speak well. Now, I know that, speaking is relative. I totally understand that. But here's the pressure on us as HR professionals. You are going to be interact with sometimes people, okay, I don't want to say smarter than you, but people who you don't exactly know their background. You don't exactly know, their experiences or their attitudes or something. You don't exactly know that. So you're going to have to be dealing with, people from all walks of life. So your verbal communication skill has to be on point. You need to be able to talk well. Now, in fact, okay, don't let me, okay, so I was going to be nice, but let me break it down because, I feel like this is why, people are here today to learn, what it really means to start a career in HR. Let me be honest with you guys. You need to know how to speak well. Let's be real with ourselves. It's okay if you feel like, you still make some grammatical errors, but you can learn. Trust me. In fact, even the people, that we even think that we speak English well, you just realize that when you're writing, it's a whole different game. That's why you're writing just also, but when then. So you need to learn how to speak well and also write well. There are courses online that can take you into effective communication skills. As the HR person, you must know how to do PowerPoint presentation. Is a given. So you probably want to take courses in effective business communication that shows you how to make PowerPoint presentations, how to interpret data using Excel, how to speak, how to convince people. When you're telling your CEO, your CEO rather, why he needs to send people on training, why you want to spend 2 million to send one person on training, you need to be able to convince the CEO to say, this and this and this is why, because people don't, CEOs sometimes don't believe that you should spend so much on training. You as the HR person need to be able to convince verbally, and also in writing that these and these are the things that should be done. So communication has to be on point. You are going to be meeting people from other organizations. You are going to be having to make your case regularly on why something should not be done or why a policy should not be enforced. You're going to know how to speak and write well. Another one is critical thinking. Like I said, you are dealing with different employees with different attitudes, different personalities. You're meeting someone for the very first time. You have no idea what this person is about, where this person is coming from. It means that the solution that you prefer to A, that you have known before, cannot be the same solution you prefer to B. So you have to start to think on your feet to say, okay, I'm looking at this person. How can I prefer solution to this person on the spot? So you need to critically look at a person and then start to dissect. Now, it's not for me, it's not witchcraft. So especially when I tell people, I studied psychology, like, oh, you can read my mind, tell me what am I thinking. I'm like, nah, any witch. So it's not about reading people's mind because you are not a mind reader. You can only know what people are thinking based on their actions. Do you see? So you have to be able to think critically to say, okay, this person is exhibiting some kind of behavior. How can I match this behavior? Or how can I relate to this person based on this person's knowledge? So critical thinking is essential. Like I also said, as you start to advance in HR, you are going to become a strategic business partner. You are going to concern yourself less with admin work. So the CEO is going to ask you a question and say, okay, how much do you think we should spend on training employees this year? You are going to be able to think and justify why we should spend that amount. So critical thinking is essential. You need to be able to think deep. Problem solving, which is, like the sister of critical thinking, they go hand in hand. People, in fact, as you sit in your office, that's if you have one, well, because in the workplace of today, we have open offices where the HR is no longer hidden, just in the corner, but you're having to relate to people. People are going to bring situations to you that you'll be like, but am I God? How do you expect me to solve this thing for you? But you see, that's your job. I'm happy to burst your bubbles. You are a problem solver. I don't know if you've seen this meme where they say HR is medical doctor, HR is lawyer, HR is teacher, HR is parents. you are going to become all things to all men. So you need to have problem solving skills. When people bring, their challenges to you in the office, you're not just going to discard them and say, man, I don't know, you are going to have to solve it. That is how you prove your value in the organization. You are going to have to be able to devise solutions and peculiar solutions to peculiar problems. So it's essential. Another skill that you are going to, devise is persuasion and negotiation. So let me just say that for those of you, who don't know how to really negotiate, a win-win situation where it has to be HR, you can never have a win or lose. You can't win while employees are losing, and you can't lose while employees are winning. It has to be a win-win situation because HR is more like the middleman between employees and employers. So your employer can be winning while the employees are losing, and the employees can be winning while the employer is losing. So you have to be able to negotiate a middle ground where both parties can agree to one thing. So it might require that you persuade, the CEO to say, sir, I understand that this and this is going to cost us, but this and this and this are the benefits. You are going to be able to negotiate with employees. So take, for example, this post-COVID era where, sadly, people are getting laid off, people are taking a pay cut, people are going on unpaid leave, a lot of things, are really happening. Your negotiation skill has to be top notch to say, so it's okay for you to sometimes say, you know what, guys, we've been at home, we've not really been making money. So can you take a pay cut? And naturally, people are going to react and say, why should I take a pay cut? But the thing is, as much as you want to do what is, beneficial to the employee who has hired you needs you to do what is beneficial to him. So you have to learn how to negotiate with people. And trust me, negotiation and persuasion is a skill. So you might want to take courses on that as well, and then just build your skills in that. Conflict management is essential. You are going to have to settle some conflicts that will arise in the organization. Employee versus employee, employer versus employer, especially when you have board of directors or you have, large amount of decision makers where one person does not agree with one person. You as an HR have to come in to now start to manage conflicts and then ensure that people are working in harmony. So it's very essential. Time management. Friends, if you're not careful, you would go to work at 9 a.m. and realize that at 5 p.m., you have only done one thing, respond to employees' requests. And you see, that's beyond what you are being paid for as an HR person. So you need to be able to manage your time. Let me say a bit on time management, because I feel like it's also a personal effectiveness tool for you as an individual, even before you're an HR. Now, a lot of people don't know that you can actually be strict with your time. You can actually be. So when it comes to time management, let me tell you something. It's not everything that you get to the office and do. There are some things that are, so use the priority matrix where you have the things that are urgent and important, the things that are urgent but not important, the things that are important but not urgent, the things that are neither important or neither urgent. So as an HR person, you need to be able to identify what are the tasks that if I do today, gives me 80% of my results. Do you see? So you need to identify what are those tasks, what are those goals that I can, when I tick them off my to-do list, I can say to myself that, okay, I've done good work. Because remember, you are not paid for activity, you are paid for results. So enough of the business and the activities. In fact, let me shock you. You are not paid for managing conflicts. It's part of what you're paid for, but the larger picture of which you are paid for is, if the CEO starts to measure your value in the organization, can they convert your value to money? As bizarre as it sounds, that's the honest truth. You need to be able to convert your value to money in the organization. So you need to manage your time. Do the things that are very critical in the organization. Don't just be everywhere attending, and which is why, sometimes as well, they give the HR a separate office to say, look, you're not going to be, it's not a guidance and counseling session, where employees just, come into the office at every hour to just, come and talk about how traffic, was intense today. Of course, those things are, you have to show empathy in some places, but at the same time, you need to be able to critically manage your time. Because if you're not careful, you would have gone back home when it's 5 p.m. to realize that you did not add value to your employer. So you need to know when you are adding value to your employee and when you're adding value to your employer. It's very essential. Technology skills. The days of this technology thing is stressful, it's complex. Those days are over, because now we're moving to an era where the HR is going to be using technology to do most of their tasks in the office. So for example, in recruitment, we use the ATS, which is the applicant tracking system. So the applicant tracking system is a software that allows you to sieve CVs that meet your already set criteria. If you don't know how to use the ATS, you cannot be effective as a recruiter. Let me just tell you, you can't be effective as a recruiter, because imagine that you put out a vacancy and you have 1,000 posts, 1,000 CVs rather. How are you going to sort out 1,000 CVs in about 2 days? You don't want to crash. So you need technology. Payroll. Imagine you are making you're paying salaries for organization of 3,000, 5,000 people. You can't be using Excel one by one, copy and paste, clicker. No, you need to use tools like Sage, to pay salary. So it's essential. So maybe what you want to do after this is to go online and say HR technology tools. Start to learn them, because when you want to get a job in HR, you who has technology skills has an advantage over someone who is just an HR person. Your technology skills is an advantage to you. So when you go for interviews and then they ask you that, what HR software can you use? The moment you start to mention ATS, Sage, Zoho, you'll be like, okay, this person is going to come and do us real good here. So it's an advantage all the time. Technology and analytical skills, it's almost the same, very essential. Now, HR analytics, like I said, is a whole different part on its own. So you're going to have to, before I used to tell myself that I don't like numbers. If you're like me, that you don't like math before in your former life. But now, I literally had to, go and learn HR analytics, because in the work of today, your CEO wants to see you present information using numbers. Nobody wants to read, those days of reading just verbal things, verbal presentation, those days are over. So you want to be able to present information with numbers, with graphs, with bar charts, with pie charts, so that when you present a document to someone, pam, 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 at once, they can pick the information. You're saying attrition rates, the number of people who have left the organization compared to the number of people who are still here. You want to be able to present that in a simple chart, in a simple bar graph, where people can just see it and say, okay, I get it. Nobody wants to read a long paragraph of the reason why people left, how many people left. No, you want to be able to present your information using numbers to interpret, data and interpret information. So it's very essential. Now, there are a whole lot of critical skills that, that are essential for success. So you might also want to go, after now, to learn some other skills. Okay, so this is the interesting thing, that people, sometimes think that there's such a magical way, or there's a definite path to getting into HR. I tell people 80%, sorry about that. Okay, my 80% of what you learn in HR is actually on the job. 80% of what you learn in HR is actually on the job. Hi, Chisom. Okay, I can't see that smiley. So I don't know what it means. I don't know, because I'm using my laptop. Okay, so I said 80% of what you learn in HR is actually on the job. So your knowledge of HR comes and increases as you actually practice HR. So when people ask me, how can I learn more about HR? This is always my first question. Get into HR. Start by taking internships. Thank you, Chisom. Start by taking internships. Take short courses in HR. So you have some free courses on Udemy, Coursera. There's also Neuro Learning Platform. You have a lot of free HR courses. Start by taking those courses in HR. then you cannot start to write professional exams. So you have professional exams like CIPM, PHRI, SPHRI, and then get industry mentors as well. Hi, Ruth. Yes, please. You can ask questions at the end, and I'm going to round up very soon so that people are able to ask their questions. So yes, you can ask questions at the end. So internships. Now, internships are one of the biggest ways to learn the rudiments of HR. Now, let me tell you something as an HR. It's very easy for you to, to gather years of experience, to gather years. And when I mean years, I mean number. It will show in future if you do not have hands-on experience. And what do I mean by hands-on experience? In the internship phase and the first few phases of your career as an HR personnel, that's the place where you get to learn a lot. I've seen this from experience. My first job was a technical assistant to one of the HR industry leaders. And can one get this PowerPoint? Okay, we'll consider that after this webinar. So one of the, as a technical assistant to, a very big industry, HR industry leader, and I would look at how she made presentations, how she did her trainings, how she was interviewing people, and those were the places where I actually learned how to practice HR. So if you don't actually do HR, it would actually be difficult for you to learn the rudiments of HR. So you need to get into HR. Now, another question is, how do you get internships? There are lots of internships. My first internship was through sheshewa.ng. You can type that on Google. They have lots of internships in different areas. So go on Google, type HR internships. If you're not on LinkedIn, friends, this is the time to get on LinkedIn. You need to go and update your profile. And I'm not talking about you putting and saying, looking for HR opportunities. First, you need to start to give value. And I'm going to explain when I say give value, especially for, who are just starting in HR. Now, there's something we call networking and volunteering. I've heard a lot of people, say they don't want to volunteer. People are just about the money. Let me be real with you. I mean, since we're being real here, at first, your first job in HR might not pay you the money that you want. And that's the honest truth. Okay. Okay, so Judy says, how long does internship last? It depends. Some organizations offer internships of about 3 months to 6 months. So it depends on how long you want so you have a case where you are able to determine your internship duration. It could be 3 months, and some organizations say 6 months. So it depends. Please, I didn't get the organization. So the organization's name is, let me just put it on the chat, it's sheshewa.ng. sheshewa.ng. So it's a platform where you can look at all the internships that are offering. You also have student job, and there are a lot of them. Just Google. Okay, sorry, he said CISO, not CISO. To correct, sheshewa.ng. Yes, sheshewa.ng. That's it. So yeah, so internships are one of the very powerful ways for you to start your career in HR. Get on LinkedIn. There are internship positions that are constantly being chunked out on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has to, so spend less time on Instagram. I'm sorry I'm breaking tables, but if you actually want to build a career, even in HR or any other industry, spend less time on HR. As a professional, I want to see you more on LinkedIn and on Instagram. So divert your energy. Ensure that you are following the right people. Ensure that your profile is well up to date, is well built. So those are some of the ways that you can actually. So let me just quickly round up so we can have time for a lot of questions. So I said write professional examinations. CIPM is Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. It is the largest HR certification body in Nigeria. So you also have PHRI. PHRI is international organization. And then you have SPHRI, which is the senior to PHRI. So if you're just starting, it will be good for you to take CIPM and the PHRI. If you already have a master's or you already have, quite good years of experience in HR, you should be going for SPHRI. That's a more advanced course. And also get industry mentors. There are a lot of learnings that you can that you can do when you follow HR industry mentors. There are a lot of them, like a whole lot of them. You have people like like my amazing mentor. You have people like Jimmy Tewe, you have people like Dupe Akinshion, you have people like Lara Yerko, you have people like Yemi Fashion. Just go on Google and search. Go on LinkedIn, search HR, search professionals in HR. You are going to get a full list. Follow them. Look at what they're doing. Look at how they're constantly chunking out materials, to help you. So it's essential. Some of them you might have to volunteer, and this takes me to the part of volunteering and networking. A lot of us, we don't want to volunteer. We don't want to get our hands dirty. As you start your career in HR, you will need to get your hands dirty. And what do I mean by that? To say that there are places where you will not get monetary value for the learnings you want to do. So for example, there's an HR event somewhere. Go there, volunteer, attend. There are free HR events that you can attend. Some of the industry mentors have events, even their paid events. It's a thing that you can just send, a LinkedIn mail to say, oh, hello, ma, this and that, introduce yourself in the most polite way and say, oh, I'll be willing to volunteer. I know people who have gotten direct access to HR industry leaders simply by volunteering for their events. Simply by volunteering, because like I said, so when you send people, LinkedIn messages and then you say, oh, I'd like something, the reason why some people will not read your messages is because all they see is how you want to take from them. So the question is, how can you bring value to them? So you need to be able to volunteer for their events. If they're having, maybe a book launch or something, be the first person to show up there. From there, they now start to introduce you to other people. So nobody's going to take you when it's just all about you taking. You need to also be able to give value. Someone will say that, I've not started. What value can I get? Volunteering is a strong value. Look at someone and say, oh, I have strong verbal skills or written skills. I'm able to help you translate or help you to write a short article that you can use in your next event. Just find a way to volunteer. Okay, I don't want to overflog that. Now, someone says I am volunteering now for your event. Thank you. Okay, so how do you advance your career in HR? Now, this is for those of you, who already are in HR, or you're just coming in, but you're also looking to advance your career in HR. Number one, be a strategic business partner. Now, and I said it earlier that you need to focus less on the admin work. So if you're already 3-4 years in the HR space, you need to move away from that, always serving queries. You are the HR who is always serving queries. You are the one who is standing at the door looking for the last person to come into the organization. That's not value. Your major value as you advance in HR is you now start to bring up ideas, people transforming ideas on how we can get more from our employees. You are now thinking of how employees can be productive, how they can be engaged. You are introducing new change processes into the organization. You are becoming a strategic partner. You are looking at how can I contribute to achieving the organizational objectives of the company. That's what you are as a strategic business partner, not on the admin work. Leave that for the admin personnel. You are a senior HR person. So you are contributing strategically to what is happening in the organization. Another thing is you have to be innovative. Come up with new people solutions. So people that come up with knowledge sharing sessions, what do they call launch and learn events, those ideas on how, okay, we can bring money into the company. How can we maximize the potentials of the people to achieve our goals? That should be innovative. Just come up with new ideas, that you can, that you can present to the CEO and then give him value for money. Do you understand? And also, as you advance in your career, you need to master the use of analytics to interpret data, whether you love numbers or not. First of all, maybe let's just take a selfie. Those of us that used to like numbers, that used to run. You run from maths, you run from further maths, and now you're in HR. I'm happy to inform you that you are in this. Do you understand? You need to love numbers. I'm telling you. Because like I said, nobody wants to read a long, boring paragraph. Sometimes you will have just 5 minutes to present your information to the board of directors. You need to be able to show charts and graphs to say, this and these are the reasons why people are leaving in the organization. This is the percentage to which people are engaged in the organization. It is very critical. That's how people respect you. And above all of these things, why are numbers? My sister, numbers, very important. And above all of these things, you have to be tech savvy. So gone are the years where you're like, you know, I've seen people struggle with some tools and then they ask you and say, C-suites are figure driven. Exactly, they're figure driven, you know. So they want to see numbers because they don't have time. Imagine someone who has 5 meetings scheduled in a day. You can't be reading paragraph and post. You need to present number and say, this is what you can, you can pick just from looking at this presentation. And you have to be tech savvy. Like I said, there's new softwares that you must know how to use it. If you want to become a thought leader in the HR industry where you are managing thousands of employees, you need to be able to find softwares that allow you to pay salary by just one click. You need to be able to find softwares that allows you to sort out 3,000 CVs in 2 minutes. You need it. You need it. So it's very essential. Be a strategic business partner. Start to think of solutions that are not, are not just admin solutions. Solutions that will transform the organization. Look at the big picture. Identify the goals and the objectives of the organization and say, okay, how can I come in? How can I be a major player in achieving these goals? It is very, very important. Now, okay, so this is like my final slide. So new dimensions for HR post COVID-19. So in this season, we've seen the HR industry take a whole different turn. Some things, do companies pay for these softwares or you get them yourself? So if you work in a company, or the companies will definitely pay for it. The companies will definitely pay for the software. If you want to practice on your own, or say you are a freelance consultant, you might have to, get them. But if you work in the company, it is your duty to present, to the CEO, the board of directors, some of the softwares that they can purchase, to increase productivity in the organization. Please, examples for softwares to learn. So you have softwares like Sage. Sage helps you to pay salaries. So it's used for compensation and benefits for a large organization. You have Sage, that's SAGE. You have Sage. Yeah, and then you have the ATS. The ATS is a software that allows you to easily see large number of CVs. ATS is the applicant tracking system. You also have the HRIS. It's the human resource information system. Allows you to do a whole lot of things, by the way. So there are other things that there are other tools that you can also find out on Google and all of that. So now in this new dimension, so what is the new dimension for HR post COVID-19? Can someone practice using ATS on their own? Absolutely, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can. So I know people who are freelance consultants who do CV reviews and CV adjustments. The ATS, yes, the ATS is actually what they use, because the ATS seeks to identify keywords in a CV. So the key important words, key important skills. So the ATS is looking for those skills. So yes, you can actually practice using ATS on your own. So what are the new dimensions for HR post COVID-19? Increase in remote working. Voila, we're all at home, we're all working. So there's going to be increase. Now, if you know Red Media, so Red Media just announced, I think about a week or 2 weeks ago, to say that henceforth, whether COVID or no COVID, their employees are going to be working from home, like forever. Well, that's what they said. I don't know if it might change, but that's what they said, like forever. People are going to be working from home. So that's changing. People are going to be working in the comfort of their homes. Can someone use all those softwares on phone? I'm not exactly sure, but I wouldn't advise that you use those softwares on your phone, because some of them might be quite large. It might also, destabilize a lot of other apps on your phone. So it's better to just use a bigger system. Employee personalization. You need to be able to put a face to your employees. So imagine that now, the only time you get to see your employees are maybe when you have Zoom meetings like this. So you need to be able to connect your employees, one-on-one. It might mean that you will spread your HR team. So imagine that you have 1,000 people. Your employee can't just be another name on an Excel sheet. You need to be able to put a face to every employee that you have now that you can't see them physically. Put a face to them. What are the benefits? What are some things that you can give your employees that makes them feel very valuable in the organization, even without being present physically? You need to come up with those strategies. Mental wellness and satisfaction. HR guys, we have to bring the human back into human resources. So right now, people are dealing with stuff. People are having, serious, I don't know what to call it, but you need to focus on the mental wellness of your employees. So don't just call them up to say, have you delivered on your task? It doesn't work. You need to be empathetic. So sometimes you need to ask your employees to say, how are you doing? How is family? You need to connect to them on a personal level. It doesn't make you less of a person. That is the crux of human resources. There's human before resources. You must connect to them on a human level before connecting to them as resources that move your organization forward. So the organizations that will survive in this post-COVID or in this post-COVID, era are the people who are empathetic towards their employees, who are concerned about their employees' mental wellness, and satisfaction. And of course, you need to be able to measure performance remotely. So now that people are working from home, so the question you want to be asking is, how am I going to know if this person is doing what they're supposed to be doing? So that's it. You need to be able to measure performance remotely. Okay, so Isabella says currently we're working on an employee assistant program, especially as it pertains to mental wellness and other. Fantastic. So you can contact, Isabella. So she has, a lot more, on dealing with mental wellness and other areas, for employees. So another thing is L&D will be deployed through e-learning platforms. So I can imagine that if we're not on the lockdown, we'll probably be having this session in a physical class or something. But now we're having to use e-learning platforms, and a lot of those platforms have come up in the past 1 month. So you need to be able to sign up your employees to trainings that they can take online. I myself, I'm signed up to an all subscription-based coaching and learning membership where I have different courses where I just put in my login, and then I have access to a lot of courses. Neuro Learning Platform is one, so you can just Google them. Okay. Okay, so Iyano has put, okay. Hi Iyano, can you please put up this publicly so everybody can see it to check out okay your CV is. So this is a website to check out okay your CV is. So it's going to put it up and then everybody can see it. Also, skill-based hiring. As HR practitioners, you are going to be doing a lot of hiring based on skill. Now, it's so funny. Well, it's not funny to see. It's just, really clear to us now that organizations are realizing that they didn't really need so much people in their office, because now they are cutting off people. They are looking at the people who are producing key things or directly in the organization, the key talents. So now you need to hire based on skill, not because your friend needs a job, or because you need to hire people, who have special skills that are essential to fulfill your organizational objectives. Do you see? So it's very important for you to look at your organizational goals and say, what are the kind of people that I need to help me to achieve these goals, or to help us as a company achieve these goals? So you are hiring based on skill, based on specific skills, and of course, there will also be change in HR policies and procedures to say that COVID-19 has opened our eyes to see a lot of the things that we didn't know. Nobody saw it coming. So there were a lot of things that we didn't put in place. Now, it is essential that you go back to your policies and procedures and start to look, okay, so like the force majeure, what are the procedures that I can put in that will cater, for situations like this in the future? So it's very, very, very essential, So a lot of things are going to change post-COVID. So yes, so that brings me to the end. So conclusion, I said that starting a career in HR will sometimes require that you take up a job with a different job title but a similar function. The more you show obvious learning interest, the closer you get to being in the HR space. So let me just explain what that means. To say that when you start your career in HR, sometimes you might not see a position that says HR officer. It might be admin officer that you see. Like I said, when I started my career in HR, I started as a technical assistant to an HR industry leader. So I used to be the one to follow her to meetings, buy her lunch. It might look like, you're starting with doing, all those dirty work, or if there's a word to call it, but just that's the place where you learn a lot, and so I started as a technical assistant. I would write our briefs, schedule our meetings, check our calendars. But was in that process. It was in that process where I actually learned hands-on HR. Seeing how she used to develop content, the way she was so articulate with training and development, with presentations. I learned a whole lot. So when you start, you might not just get HR officer job. It might be admin. It might be personal assistant, but make sure that you have your goals of what you want to start, how you want to start out in HR. So it might be you taking up an admin job in an HR company or in a consulting company, so which is what I meant by take up a job with a different job title, but a similar function. So if you're in the admin space, it's quite easy for you to cross into HR, because at the beginning, you're doing a lot of admin work, even as HR. But as you grow, then you become, a strategic partner. Yes. So I think that I have said quite a lot. So I think it's time for questions and answers. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope we learned a lot. Okay. So I can start to take questions. Okay. So let me see. Questions. So Gladys says, for someone currently in school, how do I gain experience while at it? Good question. I love that question. Now, I took my HRBP class when I was in OAU, when I was in IFE. So in school, some of the ways you can gain experience is actually by taking courses online. So there are a lot, like I said, there are a lot of courses that you can take online. So if you're still in school, you might have to devote some time to taking online courses. Now, I had some friends in school, and this was what they did back then. So we have some organizations too in school. We have some places where employees, where students were working part-time and also schooling full-time. So one other thing you can do is to maybe if there's, so let me give you a very, very direct example. I had someone who was working in a restaurant. He was the HR officer in the restaurant while he was in school. And that was where, he learned a lot of HR, actually. So, you have a lot of these eateries on campus. You have a lot of these mini organizations around school. You can just walk up there and say, okay, I'm trying to build a skill in this. I can do this for a very tiny amount, but please don't let it distract what you're studying in school. So, like I would say, still the best way if you're in school is to get experience with courses. So the more you also study HR, you also get better at HR. HR it can be that easy that when you look at courses online, you'll also get, you also be able to acquire skills, as you take courses online. So yeah, that's one way to gain experience while you're in school. So I did a lot of volunteering while I was in school. I'll attend, so TEDx, yeah, TEDx was one platform that gave me some HR experience, TEDx events. I volunteered for quite a number of events, quite a number of serious events that were happening in school, and that's how I learned. Okay. Hi, Esther. Okay. I think it's a private message. Hi, Esther. Okay, so you can send me a mail at peoplesolutionswithtoyin@gmail.com. So we can take it up from there. Okay. Bumi. Okay, hi Bumi. You can please send me a mail and also indicating this message so that it's easy for me to connect it. Thank you so much. Hi Ewa, thank you so much. Esther, okay, Esther, okay. Thank you. Lovely presentation. Thank you so much. Okay, so I get to take questions. Okay, so Blessing says, so please, I hope I don't miss out on these questions. I'm going to try to get, you know, okay. Are LinkedIn certification acceptable when seeking for opportunities in human resource management? Mm, hmm. Okay, from my experience, what people usually request for is that you will see CIPM, SPHRI is an added advantage. I've never seen anyone say LinkedIn certification is an added advantage. But what LinkedIn certification does for you is that it helps to increase your knowledge, your knowledge of HR. But it might not be a certificate that you can tender when you are applying for a job. But one thing that you can use to maximize is that when you attend interviews, the things that you have learned, on this LinkedIn programs and trainings is what you will use to converse when you're sitting in front of a panel, at an interview. So when they're asking you questions, some of the things that you have learned, by taking this LinkedIn certification programs are the basis for which you will converse with your potential employer. So maybe not, but you can learn a lot from them that you can apply on your job. Okay, so for someone who works in the tech aspect of HR, how do you reposition yourself to be a strategic HR personnel without having to start all over with internships? For someone working in tech, how do you position yourself to become a strategic HR personnel? Bear in mind that I've taken a couple of online courses in HR. Okay, fantastic. If you work in the tech aspect of HR, you don't have to start over from internships. The tech aspect of HR is also a very powerful, uncharted course. People run away from technology these days. So I can say that you're in a good place. So how do you reposition yourself? Like I said, if you want to become a strategic business partner, you need to start coming up with solutions. You're a solution provider. So you go to ask your CEO and says, what are the pain points of our industry? What are the things that pose to us as a problem? It is just problems that you will take back and now start to identify solutions with, because every employer wants you to provide solutions that would either cut costs or reduce the burden on them. So as a strategic business partner, you are thinking of the bigger picture. After able to identify all the goals and the objectives of the organization, you start to think of solutions, ideas. You become an idea generating machine. You move away from just policies and procedures and status quo. You are moving to bigger things. You're thinking of, okay, so you think of things like, okay, employees are coming late to work. How can we engage, or what is the benefit that we can post to them that motivates them? Change management initiatives. Do you see? So you're going for bigger things. You are going for things that are directly making the employer, easing the stress on the employer, basically. So you don't have to start from internships, but as you become a strategic partner, you need to start thinking strategically. Yeah, that's the word. So look for ideas, look for solutions, that can help your organization. Well, also, when I took a course in HR and I have certification with UK HRCI, how valid is certificate? In Nigeria, I don't know how valid that certificate is. In the UK, maybe it is, but I'm sure that if you tender that, on wanting to get a job, it should be considered, because, I mean, in Nigeria today, people, of course, that people always respect international certification. So it's not enough for you to stop at CIPM. Let me just be real with you. You need to also go further, take courses, go for PHRI, go for SPHRI. So look also for international HR courses that you can take. So it's also another advantage. What should be my first assignment if I am newly employed as an HR manager? Such an interesting question. What should be your first assignment? So that is very relative, because now you have to ask yourself, what is the one pertinent problem in my organization? What is the one problem that everybody has been having a headache about? That should actually be your first assignment. So your first assignment is determined by the long-term problem that people have been facing in your organization as an HR manager. Because you use the word HR manager. So it's not like it's not like you're an HR officer. So as an HR manager, your first conversation should be with your employer to say, what people problems are we having in this organization? Once your employer identifies that with you, you will know what your first assignment is as an HR manager. Can you help share your mail here? Okay. Okay. Okay, so my mail is actually the one that sent the webinar details. So that's actually my mail. Okay, so People Solutions between, yeah, that's my mail. What's the line between HR officer and HR manager? Okay, so HR officer is okay, I don't necessarily want to use the word lower, but HR officer is more like 0 to 2 years experience in HR. HR manager is 5 years experience and above. So the HR manager is the more senior person than the HR officer. What should be my first? Okay, I've answered that. Starting out career in HR, is it advisable for me to start my experience with an HR consulting firm or work in the HR department in any industry? I absolutely love this question. So when I started, I knew that it was essential for me to work in the consulting industry. And I'll tell you the advantage of working in the consulting industry. In the consulting industry, because it's consulting, you get to see all the sides of consulting, all the sides of providing solutions, business advisory solutions, interacting with people firsthand. Like, you get to see a lot, you get to do a lot as well. So that's why I always advise people that if you want to grow in HR, it might be actually good for you to start your career in either a HR consulting industry or generally in a consulting industry before, going to the HR department of an organization, because the other one, you will learn a whole lot, like a whole lot. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to have hands-on experience because you're going to have to deal with a lot of issues every day. So it's essential for you to build that experience. So you need solid hands-on experience. After some time, you can now start, take up HR work in another industry. Personally, that's what I feel, but, I applied to turn on my because I do not have, but most organizations I applied to turn on my organization. Okay. I know this. I know there can be, it can be really annoying, when you want to do HR and then people are asking you, you don't have any experience, which is, for internships. So your internship experience is an experience. So let me tell you what, when you're sitting in front of an interview panel, it is much more what you say and how you communicate than what you actually can do. And I'll give an example. So they're asking you questions on an interview of, have you ever, how long have you practiced HR for? And you're saying, no, I've never practiced HR. This is what the interviewer is looking to see. Is first of all looking to even see your knowledge of HR beyond the things that you have practiced. So as a newbie in HR, we're not expecting you to have so many years of experience because, of course, you're just starting. But we want to see that you have the basic knowledge of HR. So basic knowledge of how do you recruit people, learning and development, compensation and benefits. Those basic, that knowledge is what we want to see at first. So so you said you've taken few courses on Allison and Coursera, but most organizations turn you down. So to also know that it's not all organizations. Some people are looking for, already made, HR personnel. Is okay. It depends on what they're looking to achieve. But some people are also looking for people who are just starting out. So maybe you want to channel your energy into going for the organizations who are willing to take someone who is just starting out with just few years of experience. So maybe you want to consider that, but not every organization is going to, just take your internship as it is. How do I go about switching from broadcast journalism to HR? I'm a broadcast journalism. Interesting. Okay, so you're in a different field of HR. You want to move into HR. So first thing I'm going to advise you is start to take courses on HR, because obviously you don't have any knowledge in HR. So start to take courses in HR. First of all, take free short courses before you go and do CIPM. I always advise people, take free short courses on HR as many as you can before you go and do CIPM. Once you take those courses, you can now volunteer in HR organizations to say, okay, I'm just wanting to learn. You don't even have to pay me anything. I know this thing I just said now, people can shoot me for it, but the truth is, people are paying for value. If in the beginning you don't have, that HR value to give, what do you want people to pay for? So it might mean that you volunteer, without expecting pay at first. Volunteer in HR organizations, volunteer for HR events, take lots and lots of HR courses. When you do that, then you can now start to apply for internships. I know organizations who are willing to take interns who don't even have background in HR. I know of them. So you can also, do a lot of research on that. How do I enroll for PHRI certification? Okay, so one organization that I can recommend is Certification Edge. So they will carry you through all the process of registering for PHRI, SPHRI, Certification Edge. You can find them on Instagram or on LinkedIn. Just send them a message, they would send you a mail. So taking the classes, registering for the exam, they will handle all of those for you. What is the difference between HR generalist and HR specialist? Good. So HR generalist is someone who is looking into all the aspects of HR. So HR generalist is someone who is in talent acquisition, learning and development, compensation and benefits, HSC, and all the areas of HR. HR specialist, from the word, is someone who is specializing in a part of HR. So you have people who are recruitment consultants. They are HR specialists in the recruitment, in the recruitment part of HR. You have people who are learning and development coordinators. They are specialists. You have people who are compensation managers. They are specialists. So HR generally from the word is everything about HR. HR specialist is just one part, someone who is an expert in just one part of HR. I studied building technology, but I did diploma in HR from Allison. I did an internship HR before gaining admission to university. How can I go about it now? Very easy. Just look for an internship. Okay, you did an internship in your department before gaining admission to the university way back long. How can I go about it now? Apply for an HR internship again. Or you apply for a proper HR job. Since you already have a diploma in HR, and then you've already interned in an HR department, that's quite straightforward. You want to apply for, maybe more internships if you feel like you still need to learn a lot before you start to apply for HR manager roles and all of those things. So maybe you want to do more of internships, as well. What would you advise a virtual HR assistant to do to carry out roles efficiently? Fantastic. So one thing you need to do is, so first of all, have a conversation with, okay, a virtual HR assistant to do to carry out roles efficiently. Virtual HR assistants are the ones who are going to, really, really survive in this COVID era. So what you need to do is to go and master the art of working remotely. How can you make your employees more productive remotely? Now, in the slide that I shared before I rounded up, I said that HR is going to take a new turn. So people are going to be working remotely. So the question is, how are you able to put a face? How are you measuring people's performance, virtually? So so you want to look at the challenges that employees are facing while working from home, first of all. And then how can you provide solutions to those challenges? Do you understand? Do you have an updated version of ATS that picks more on JD and JS? Because I know the previous software missed some essential point in CVs, thereby limiting the recruitment process. I'm not exactly sure, but the ATS version, I'm not sure if it's an updated one, but the ATS version that we use in my organization, it's quite a very solid one, because more than the JDs, it picks the keywords that you as a recruiter, you've inserted into the system. So keywords like communication skills or project management, it picks those keywords for you. So maybe you want to do more research on that. Okay. Can you share those companies that are willing to employ HR interns with experience? At the top of my head, I can't recall. At the top of my head, I can't recall. But for my organization, where I work, we just we hired about 3 interns, who didn't have background in HR, but who were willing to learn fast. So I can speak for my I can speak for my organization. Yeah. So we did that. So we hired about 3 new people who didn't have any experience in HR but were willing to learn. So we did that. But one thing I can also say is that you will never know until you apply. So try applying for HR internship positions. When you get to the interview stage, sincerely express the knowledge that you have, in HR, the passion that you have in HR, then start to communicate the value that you are willing to bring at first. Do you understand? So communicate your values. It could be communication, just communication. It could be just to assist. If you're able to communicate little value, I'm sure there are organizations, that are willing to offer internship positions. I I'll be delighted to apply in your company. Uh, that's for my employer to answer. It's only my employer that can answer. If I want to practice in your organization, please share the link. Well, I'm not sure we're taking interns because everybody's at home right now. Can age be a barrier for internship? Good, 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 good. So honestly, yes, it can be. Because imagine imagine a 30-year-old, coming for internship. It can be, and some organizations, consider your age, but this just don't don't discourage yourself with the age. Leave it for them, to decide whether age. So some people see age as a barrier. Some organizations will say, oh, between 25 and 28. Some organizations say, as long as you know HR, or as long as you're willing to learn, And the reason why people do it is because, with age comes with more need for money. So as an intern, you don't expect to be paid, beyond a certain amount. So organizations are worried that if I employ this person as an intern, who is, an elderly person, it would be ridiculous for me to pay this person internship money. Do you understand? So that's what organizations are worried about. So that's why, sometimes they consider age in internship. So yes, sometimes it can be. But you might also find organizations, who don't mind, as long as you also don't mind to take, a very minute pay because it's internship. Apart from Allison, which other platforms can I find to obtain some certifications in HR? So on Coursera, there's certifications in HR on Coursera. On Udemy, there are certifications. Now that we're on lockdown, there are a whole lot of websites. So what you can also do, as I might not have them at the top of my head, is to go on Google, just type and search, HR certifications in HR, free HR courses in HR, and we'll bring you a whole lot of website. Okay, so very quickly before we go, I'll just want to launch a poll. If you have questions, please let me know. What's your organization? Do they have branches? So for now, my organization only operates in Lagos. Actually, my organization only operates in Lagos. I work in Alan and Grant. We only operate in Lagos for now. So no, not yet. We don't have other branches. So I'm going to launch a poll that I want you to please quickly fill as we round up. Okay, so the poll is up. So I'm going to ask that you please quickly, fill this poll. It's a feedback form just to understand how the learning has been for you today. If you would be willing to, to attend another webinar with a different course, a different topic. So yeah. But if you have other questions, so let me just say thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope you have learned quite a number of things. So please fill the poll. If you have other questions, I'm willing to answer. If you have other questions. Okay. Oh, I can't see the poll, but I can see people feeling. What could be wrong? What could be wrong? How does one kickstart HRM after university? Internships, volunteering. So also depending on the course that you study. So I, for one, I studied psychology. So it was, quite a bit easy for me to, just move into the HR space. But if you did not study maybe something related to HR, as you come out of school, my first place to start would actually still be internship. I cannot overemphasize the power of internships. It's key because that's where you actually learn the rudiments, the good sides and the bad sides of HR. You might not learn everything there, but it's actually where you will learn, some of the hands-on processes of HR. So I would actually say just apply for internships, volunteer in HR organization, in HR organizations. I already did professional course. Okay, absolutely. That's fine. Is English connected to HR too? I'm not exactly sure what this question means, Jane. Is English connected to HR too? I don't quite understand, but if you can please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. Okay, is English a course connected to HR? Not exactly. I mean, English is not a course connected to HR, but because of the fact that you will need excellent communication skills, excellent written and verbal skills, it is essential that English is a correct, well, it's not exactly connected to HR, but because you'll be conversing with people every day, you'll be conversing with decision makers. It's just important that your English, your spoken English is top notch. I would like to take a course on HR analytics. Do you have anyone to recommend? Yes, I do. Please send me a mail. So I'm looking to also deliver a course on HR analytics. Have one of my very very HR analytics guru, come take us on HR analytics. So please just send me a mail. Once it's out, I will let you know when the next. So most likely it will be HR analytics, because I see that that's also one area that a lot of people are willing to learn. HR analytics is very essential for today's HR. Thank you. Thank you, Tari Layefa. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay. Okay, what organizations can I recommend for internship? Okay, so Jane, so I said earlier that there's Sheshewa.ng. They are primarily specialized in helping you to look for internships. There's Sheshewa, there's Student.ng. This auto correct. Student. You can also find some on Jobberman. Yes. I realized that, okay, so we're going to round this up in about 4 minutes. I tried the Shishewa. Okay, what you can just do, okay, maybe shishewa.org. Maybe you should try shishewa.org, or you just type Shishewa on Google. Just type Shishewa on Google. So I'm sure something will come up. I realized that I don't get roles as to my job preference and location on LinkedIn. How do I go about it? You probably need to do a streamlined search. So if you don't get roles, you probably have to go and sign up for jobs that are pertinent to your roles. So you might actually do something on your settings, which gives you notification when jobs that are your business practically come up. So you might actually do something in your settings so that you can get notifications for jobs, and then you can also sign up. So when there's a new job relating to HR, I get notifications in my mail and I also get in my LinkedIn. So you might have to go do something with your settings. Thank you so much, Gladys. Okay, so I'm going to be ending the poll now so we can round up. Okay. Okay, so we're running up about 2:40. So if you have any questions that can still answer. Okay, so thank you so much. Okay, so I think we have to go now. It has been an amazing, amazing time. So you can connect with me. Can we have the recording and slides in our mail? Let me think about it. Let me see. I'll think about it. Okay, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. There's also a Telegram link that was sent to us in the email. You can join the Telegram link. So I can also post some jobs that I see and some HR, information. I can always post them. I can always post them, on the Telegram group. So yes, Brenda. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Oluwatoyin Omotayo on LinkedIn. You can follow me when I constantly share jobs, HR jobs, and all other internship positions, so you can see it. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing, amazing, amazing time with you all. Thank you so much for joining the Telegram link. Okay, let me see. Just a minute. Okay. So sending this, so that's the Telegram link for you to join. I've done with myself, just that the role I get don't cover the selected location. Okay. Another thing you can do is to search on Google. So when you go on Google, you can, so most times when I'm looking for jobs, I just go on Google and then I just type HR jobs in Lagos, and I see a whole lot of jobs just pop out. So apart from LinkedIn, Google is also one that you cannot miss. Do you understand? So it's also essential for you to be familiar with Google. Search as many. Every day I would wake up and go on Google, when I was looking for a job, or times when I'm looking for a job. As much as I search on LinkedIn, I go on Google, say HR jobs in Lagos, and then you put the specific jobs and the specific location that you're also looking, for the jobs, and then it gives you what you need, basically. So thank you so much, guys. It's been an amazing time. We have to go now. Thank you so much. Do you have a lovely time? Thank you. Have a wonderful time, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Bye. So yes, I'm going to. Okay.